I believe we can all agree that sometimes we might be very good at math, but it is very annoying when we need to factor something out and we're finding a limit and we cannot find the limit because we don't know how to factor out something. That is very annoying. So today I'm going to show you the most important rules that you need to know, okay? And that you need to know how to apply to calculus. In the following video, we're going to use these rules solving a lot of limits problems, okay? So you can learn these rules and then go to those videos. So let's start. This is going to be very quickly because, well, you're learning calculus, okay? So you can get things fast. So we're not going to take that much time in here. So let's say our first case. What if we have two numbers that we are adding them together? So we have a plus b squared. Now, how much is that equal to? Well, the rule that you follow is you're going to take the square of the first number plus 2 times the product between the two numbers plus the square of the second number. Okay, this is the rule. It is pretty easy to follow. Just remember that in both of the sides, you're going to have a squared term. What about when we have the same form but we're subtracting? Well, it is pretty simple. We're going to have a minus b squared. And it is the same thing, but now we're going to switch the first sign that we have. So that would be equal to a squared minus, because we're subtracting, 2 times a times b plus b squared. That is the rule we follow. The second rule. The third rule, I'm sorry, counting. Now, what if we have two squared numbers and we need to subtract them? Well, something we can do is we open two parentheses. Maybe you have already seen this in high school. It is something pretty common. Well, so what we're going to do is we're going to say a plus b minus times a minus b, okay? Just remember, you're multiplying the same thing, but with opposite signs, okay? You have this when you're subtracting, and what you're going to do is you're going to open these two. You're going to open two parentheses, and you have opposite signs multiplying each other. So, a fourth case. So now, what if we have these two squared numbers, but we're going to add them together? Now, this is a pretty cool one. Now, don't make the mistake of saying this is equal to a plus b times a plus b, because this is absolutely wrong, okay? And it is actually a pretty common mistake. This is not true. This would actually be equal to this, which is equal to this, okay? So don't do that, please. That is very wrong. But now that we're actually talking about this, how do you solve this? Well, actually, you need to use this. So let me show you something. We're trying to find this, which means that we need something that is the same thing as this, numerically. And we know in terms of the numbers, we can find an addition between these two numbers in here, okay? When we have a binomial expansion. At the end of the day, in here we have a squared plus b squared. The only thing that we have that doesn't really match is this 2ab. Now, what can we do? Well, if you think about it, we can just simply that this is going to be equal to a plus b squared minus, let me write that in red so you remember, minus 2 times ab. The same term that we have here. We do not need this. So we can just simply subtract it. And we will get these two things remaining. Okay? And that is what we need. Okay? This would turn into this minus 2ab, which is what we do not need. So eventually these two would cancel out. And we would remain with these two boys right here, which is what we need. Now, what if we jumped to the field of the cubed numbers? So now let's say we have a cubed plus b cubed. It is something pretty easy, you just need to know the rule. So you're gonna open two parentheses. In the first one, you're gonna say a And now the sign that you have in the expression, which in this case would be b, times the second parenthesis. And now here you're gonna do something very similar as if you were expanding a binomial. So you say this is equal to a squared minus the second sign that you place will be the opposite of the first sign, ab plus your second term squared, b squared. If you see, it's pretty similar as this. The only difference is that, well, right here, we're not going to use a coefficient of 2. Okay, we're just simply going to let it as 1. Now, what about if we are subtracting? So let me do that here on top because I don't want to like go down here. It's pretty annoying. So, yeah, let's go like to 6 in here. So we have 6. So what if we have this expression, but now we're going to be subtracting? We have a cubed minus b cubed. It is almost the same thing as this, but just remember the sign rules. So you have the first sign that you have in the expression goes to the first parenthesis. And now what you're going to do is you do a squared plus the opposite sign that you have here, ab coefficient of 1 plus the second term squared, which would be b squared. That is what you need to do when you have two cube numbers adding together. Now, what about binomials to a third degree? So it is almost the same thing. Now this would be the 7th rule. So now what if we have two terms? Let's say, now let's change the letters. Why not? X and y cubed. So now we know this would be equal to, pay attention, the first term cubed plus, because we are adding, 3 times x squared, so you square the first number, plus 3 times x, now with a degree of 1, y squared. Okay, so if you see here, we're just simply switching the squares between the two terms that we have. Plus, never forget, the last term cubed. Okay? Now, what if we have, let's say, a subtraction between these, between two terms that are being cubed? Well, no, not two terms that are being cubed, but a subtraction that we are cubing. So, let's say we have x minus y cubed. Simply, we know this would be equal to x cubed minus, you're going to switch the first sign now, and you're going to keep the middle straight up the same. Okay, you're not going to change absolutely anything. Just remember, you need to switch the squares, minus y cubed. So the only difference is that you're going to be changing when you're subtracting, you have the same expression, just learn this. And then when you're subtracting, you're going to write the same thing, but you're going to place minus signs in both of the sides, okay? So this sign is different, okay, than the ones on top. Now I would like to show you maybe a polynomial form that is very common. It's probably the most common one, and that you should know. Let's say we have the polynomial. I'm just gonna write it in here. Polynomial in the form x squared plus bx plus c. So let's jump straight up into a example. So let's say we have this form. Let's say we have x squared plus 11x plus 30. Yeah, 30. Now, how much is this equal to? Here's what you need to do. So you're gonna open two parentheses when you have a polynomial like this. You need two parentheses, and you're gonna write x on both of them. Because think about it. Eventually, these would go. These two would multiply, and you have a x squared right here. So you need to multiply 2 times x. Now what you're gonna do is with these numbers, we need to do something. We need to find two numbers that multiply together, give me 30, and that added together give me 11. okay? So we need to think about those two numbers. And those two numbers are the ones that we're gonna place in here. But first, we need to think about the signs. So let's do them. In this case, it's pretty simple because everything is a plus sign. So just to know the rule, the first sign that you're gonna write in the parentheses will be the first sign that you have in the expression, okay? So if this is a plus, then in the first parenthesis you write a plus, and in the second parenthesis you're gonna write the multiplication between these two signs, okay? So in this case, what you write here would be the multiplication between plus and plus signs, okay? And this goes right here. In this case, it's just simply plus sign. Now let's do the numbers, okay? So two numbers that multiply give me 30. Well, initially we know that could be 30 times 1, that's equal to 30. We also know that we could have 10 times 3, that is also equal to 30. We know that we could have 6 times 5, we know that is also equal to 30. And you can, just switch all of these numbers, like inverse them, and that would give you also 30. But we need to find numbers that together added give me 11. If you see, the only two numbers that satisfy that condition is 6 and 5. So we choose them because we know that 6 plus 5 will give me 11, okay? And those are the two conditions that we need to find. Numbers that multiply together give me C, and that added together give me B, okay? So now we can just write them in here. It doesn't matter what you put them, since both of them are positive, so it will be the same. And that would be the polynomial in this form. To end the video, here you guys have a list of all the rules that we learned today. So I moved my light so you guys won't see it in the reflection. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe take a picture of this list and print it. See you in the next one.